You can't divest yourself of it. Who's going to divest themselves of it? I'm crazy. I belong in a mental institution, and I've heard about normal, and I really want to be normal. But I'm a crazy person coming from that mindset, that platform, with its own idea of what normal is. It's only going to be more craziness. So how is a conditioned being going to uncondition themselves? The minute you see that that's impossible, that's impossible. Then, if there's a glimmer of intelligence in that perception, one has to then understand there must be a different agency, a different method, a different way. I won't use the word method, a different approach than trying to change myself, because trying to change doesn't work. People want to lose weight and they do all kinds of things to go on diets, and none of it works. So I want to stop smoking, and I go to some authority, and nothing radical changes. I'm a drug addict and I want to change. I don't want to be a drug addict, and I kick the drugs, and now I go around helping other drug addicts with their drug addiction. But I haven't, nothing radical has changed, just superficially so. Obviously, condemning and wanting to change is already an inappropriate approach. And do I see that? If I just understand it intellectually, that means I haven't really seen it. Because intellectually I go, yeah, I understand I'm conditioned and I want things and I want to move somewhere, but yeah. And behind it is always, yeah, but what do I do? And somebody comes along and says to me, whatever you do, it's not going to work, because the doer and the doing are the same thing. There's not a separation. I'm conditioned to think that I am here and I am going to do something different. But the doer and the doing are the same thing, because the doing is coming out of the doer. So do I understand, is that perceived, is that gotten? If it's not gotten, then I just understand it intellectually. I don't really believe that the seer and the seeing are the same. The thinker and the thought are the same. I'm the thinker and I, the thinker, am having the thought. No, the thinker and the thought obviously are the same. But I've been so conditioned to make a separation, to make a split, and that is very heavily ingrained in human beings on this planet. Here's Germany, there's a line. Here's France, here's Italy. Here is Oklahoma, here's New York City, here's all these lines of demarcation. These are man-made lines. They're not real. They're not true. They're abstractions. And human beings are so conditioned and caught up in the abstraction as if it's actually reality. And so naturally they're miserable, they're unhappy, and they're trying to get out of it through money, through war, through acquisitions, and all kinds of things, through religion. Everybody's tried it, and none of it works. It's obvious. I mean, if you were even a modicum of intelligence, you have to see that none of that works. So there obviously is a different approach. And that approach is meditation, but not meditation where there's a doing. You can give me great advice, and most of the time there are lots of people around who've been meditating, have great advice, and it's all true what they're saying. Not what they're saying is wrong. What they're saying is just what they're saying, but it's just explanations. And an explanation has never helped anyone. It's just an explanation. So how do I approach that? Don't give me an explanation. Don't tell me what to do. So all that's left is to investigate what is preventing that intelligent insight. The conditioning, as you point out, is what's preventing the insight into the fallacy, which seems very real. The conditioning feels very, very real. I'm caught up in pleasure. Now, what is pleasure? I have to ask myself. I want to have a good time. And as an American, I've been brainwashed. Have a good time. Well, what is a good time? We're going to go to an amusement park, or we're going to go see this movie, or we're going to go this. I'm not condemning this, by the way. I'm saying, but I'm seeking the memory of, the last time we went to the amusement park, let's do that again. So let's capture the memory, which is what pleasure is. Sex is nothing but the memory of an experience that I now am superimposing onto this other person, but it's the memory that is conditioned in the brain cells, and it creates a sensation. Nothing wrong with that. If I stay with the sensation and don't project further than the sensation dissolves. And then it's seen as a physiological conditioning that begins to change with the intelligent awareness of what is comprising that structure. Now, whether the person is of that ilk, if they're able to see that, the very seeing is the desolation, the dissolving of the fallacy of the conditioning. Conditioning feels very real. It's I want things because I think I've been conditioned that if I get the things that I want, that I'm going to be happy. I know it's an illusion intellectually, but I still want those things. I want to get. So then I have to ask myself, why do I want to get? What is it that I want to get? It's nothing but a projection of an abstraction in my brain that I'm attached to. I'm attached to the abstraction of the action of getting. But it's not a reality. It's simply a very nice idea, but nothing more. But as long as I believe in it and then I follow that, then I can go to war and I can kill you if you're an enemy. If I'm a Palestinian and you're an Israeli, I can hate you, and vice versa. And I don't need to tell you. What goes on this planet. Hatred and all kinds of silly, very juvenile is a polite word for it, really. It's undeveloped. Mankind is completely, at this stage, he is going through a metamorphosis, but there's a residue, an inertia, a carryover of thousands and thousands of years of conditioning. And that conditioning causes war, causes violence. It's obvious. As long as there's a demarcation between you and me, I'm black, you're white, I'm this, you're that, it's going to create conflict. And it's limited, and so all there is destruction. That is so, it's so obvious, and it's so beyond childish, it's just beyond stupid. I can't even find the right words.